Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Drop Back live stream, hosted by our friends over at Britballing. Today, I'm your host, Stan Wilson, and I'm joined by the enigmatic Joe Costanzo. How are you doing, Joe?
Mr. Enigmatic, back at it again. How's your time off, Daniel?
It was brilliant. It left me with time to reflect and look forward to the season we have ahead of us and all the brilliant Drop Back content that will be coming your way in the coming weeks and months. So, without further ado, let's just kick things off today with a little bit of news. So, it's come out of Jags camp that they're going to be holding an open quarterback competition between Gardner Minshew and the recently drafted number one overall pick, Trevor Lawrence. What can we make of this, Joe? How
Bullshit.
much of an open competition is it actually?
It's just something Urban Meyer's saying, isn't it, really? I think he's trying to keep up the facade that there's some sort of competition going on. But in reality, Trevor Lawrence is starting day one, right? Let's not play around. You're not drafting a guy first overall who isn't going to start day one.
You would think so, especially as he's been touted as a generational talent by many scouts and media analysts alike. So it would surely be a waste to have him sitting when you've got a talent like him on your team.
Unless Gardner Minshew is really doing bits in training camp.
And he's suddenly better than Trevor Lawrence.
All that an open QB competition really means is that they're both getting first team reps, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I don't think that there's any way that Trevor Lawrence isn't a better quarterback already than Gardner Minshew. Like, the only thing that Gardner Minshew is going to have on Trevor Lawrence is perhaps his decision-making and
NFL
experience, yeah. Like, even coming out of college, Gardner Minshew was an excellent decision-maker, and that's obviously only improved with the time he spent in the NFL. So that perhaps is the only upper hand that Minshew has over Trevor.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the little niche things like the timing in the NFL with quicker defensive backs and stuff will be slightly different, and that's where someone with a bit of a veteran presence with a couple of years under his belt might have an edge there. But I mean, it's not like Trevor Lawrence isn't touted as, the best thing since and the best prospect since Andrew Luck. I imagine he can pick things like that up fairly quickly. I think this is all just white noise, to be honest. I think it's just something Urban Meyer is saying, just so he has, just to keep up the facade of like there's a competition going. I don't not going to read that much into this.
So just typical preseason bullshit then.
Yeah. Same old garbage. Like hearing that Josh Rosen is looking amazing in training camp for the Dolphins, for example.
I love it. Matt gobbles up rumors like these, doesn't he? He loves them.
Matt just scans the freaking Miami Dolphins fan pages and is like, "Yep, this is fact.
This must be true. It came from a Dolphins fan."
Preston Williams is going to be the offensive player of the year.
Exactly. What was his take about? He's had some awful takes about Dolphins players over the years. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. He's made a few poorly made sandwich bets.
There was one of their defensive linemen
versus Lamar Jackson for touchdown passes. Lamar Jackson led the league in touchdown passes.
Yeah, that was quite a good one. My favorite was the defensive lineman that
Williams or his name is?
No, I've completely forgotten his name. He was
the funny guy.
No, he came from the Chiefs, I think, and he joined the Dolphins. He was playing like defensive end, like 3-tech defensive end for them. And Matt just thought he was an all-pro, despite the fact they were obviously much better players. Like Khalil Mack, he missed out. So
yeah, he's a bit weird, that boy.
If you are listening, though, Matt, we do love you, and we would like you back on the show at some point. So come back from Spain. How about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that this is the NFC and AFC East conversation, and we don't have either our NFC or AFC East representatives on the show.
Yeah, one of them's in Spain, and one of them's bitching about his vaccine. So,
wah. I'm double vaxxed. I get to go to clubs in September. Wah.
Yeah, still be on all the dance floors, isn't it? All the clubs in September.
He's a rave god.
You know what Slitty's like. So let's kick things off. Let's go with the AFC East and the Buffalo Bills in our divisional previews for the 2021 NFL season. So going into the season, big losses on offense is John Brown. I know perhaps you might not consider that a massive loss, but considering his production in Buffalo in recent years, it certainly does make up quite a big chunk of the offense. He's going to be replaced by Emmanuel Sanders, and himself, Stephon Diggs, and Cole Beasley will be making up the Buffalo Bills receiver core. How confident are you in the Bills offense going into this season?
I think John Brown will be dearly missed. I
Yeah.
think he doesn't really get as much respect on his name as he deserves. However, I think they're going to be fine realistically. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders isn't what he was, but he's still a capable wide receiver if he stays healthy. And we saw how good Stephon Diggs was last year. He's a true number one receiver in that scheme. Cole Beasley, despite his controversial opinions on the vaccine, pretty good guy on
his
his side as
controversial
well.
rap music.
Not that controversial. He's got the flow, you know.
Who doesn't? It's rubbish.
Yeah, this is a good point from David here that Gabriel Davis has looked pretty impressive in the past. Be interesting to see, you know, getting some more reps up in there. And Isaiah Hodgins as well has had little stints. I mean, they've got a few guys, don't they, who could potentially, I mean, not fill the hole that John Brown has left, but like with Emmanuel Sanders, Gabriel Davis, Isaiah Hodgins, maybe accumulate to some form of.
Yeah, I mean, one to look out for could be, Aaron Rodgers' boy, Jake Kummerow. He's on the Bills this year.
Apparently, he's been tearing up training camp, though that means nothing.
I don't know how much of that is just to try and like nibs Aaron Rodgers and just piss him off, but
I mean, I imagine Aaron Rodgers seems like a guy who'd be probably quite happy about that if he got a starting spot with the Bills.
Yeah, either way, I'd love for Jake Kummerow just to come out and have just an absolutely massive season, just to just annoy the Packers front office and make them wish they kept him.
When was it the Dolphins cut Chris Hogan after that season of Hard Knocks where everyone's like, Chris Hogan always open 7-Eleven, and then he actually was really good for the Patriots afterwards.
He was very good. He was very, very good for the Patriots in that season. So, yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. The big weakness for me for the Buffalo Bills is their running game. They really struggled with Devin Singletary, and then they brought in Zach Moss, who's pretty much similar. He's a very similar running back to Devin Singletary, in my opinion, in terms of their ability to be used in the passing game as well. And he wasn't able to have much of an impact. So they brought in Matt Breida as well, who we saw had a great season with the San Francisco 49ers a couple of seasons ago. He led the league in rushing yards for a good few weeks. So that
I was going to say for a season, I was like, what fucking season did Matt Breida?
No, it was for like it was through the first 6 or 7 weeks. I think he got hurt, but he was leading the league by a good chunk as well in his time at San Francisco. Obviously, he took a bit of a step back when he came to Miami, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do. Yeah. So Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Matt Breida will make up their backfield. I think we can all agree, or all of us being me and you, that that's a pretty weak room.
Yeah, apparently Zach Moss has been taking most of the snaps so far pretty consistently, so he might actually be starting over Devin Singletary. To be honest, I think Devin Singletary has kind of had a fair amount of chances now to really be the person he was kind of hyped up to be, and he hasn't really shown anything that special. He's shown glimpses of being a capable running back, but nothing to say, with the value you can get running backs now.
I completely agree with that. Like, I think he's going to be limited to just being a role player in that backfield. Perhaps the fact they brought in another experienced starting running back in Matt Breida means that they're going to rotate more. But yeah, I've heard the same rumors as you. Zach Moss has been getting more first team reps, so we'll see what that means for the Bills during the regular season. What's your view on the Bills' offensive line then? How do you feel that they'll fare during the season?
They did pretty good. They did pretty good last season, but I mean, who have they changed up?
I think their right tackle has changed. They're now rolling with Darrell Williams at right tackle. I'm not sure if he was the same as last year, but I know that he's not the strongest of right tackles.
Yeah, he's just a big body, really, isn't he?
Big body, yeah.
Cody Ford he's good.
Yeah. Mitch Morse, obviously a quality center from Kansas City. Dion Dawkins. Dion Dawkins actually currently right now he's out with COVID-19, so that's one to watch coming into the preseason.
Yeah, but I mean, it just means he's going to miss at worst like one preseason game, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's hope so. And of course, at tight end as well, Dawson Knox, bit of a breakout player, had a couple of great games for them over the past couple of seasons. Could we see him take a bit of a jump forward more this season with the lack of John Brown there, perhaps?
Yeah, that's another position where he could make up some of that lost production. Generally speaking, though, I think other than Darrell Williams, maybe I don't really know much about John Feliciano at left guard, but
Feliciano's good. He was pretty solid for them
yeah,
last
so
season. He's
4 out of
with the
5
Raiders
of
as
their
well.
O linemen are good or very good.
It's
To the
nothing to
point.
write home. It's nothing to write home about though, like it is for other teams like the
They
Chiefs.
had a pretty strong O line presence last year. I think they rated pretty highly in terms of like pass protection and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, they were okay. They just couldn't establish a run game, but part of that might just be because of the lack of quality in running back.
Yeah, yeah. Unless Matt Breida takes a massive step up, I don't see that changing that much, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either. Right, so let's flip things over to the defensive side of the ball. In the trenches, they've got Jerry Hughes, Star Lotulele, Ed Oliver, and Mario Addison on the defensive line. To me, that looks like a pretty just solid group. Like Jerry Hughes, we've seen has been solid for them in the past couple of years. Ed Oliver, touted as one of the best defensive tackle prospects in a good long while coming out of college, hasn't perhaps lived up to the standards, being drafted 19th overall, but hey,
Yeah,
solid player.
it's tough when you're interior defensive line to really live up to the standards, though.
I do agree with you because obviously it's so much more easy to dominate at college level where you've got guys who are just amateurs essentially. They'll never make a living out of this
Yeah,
job.
and you
So
can have an interior defensive lineman that's one of the best in the league that gets like 19 tackles on the whole year, but he clogs up a lane. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, it is
Brandon
a
Williams
really
pretty much made a career out of
underappreciated
that.
position.
Yeah. I'm happy with that. I think they've got a fairly strong defensive line. Maybe I don't see them really rushing the passer too well. But
See, here's what I could change. I think they might not have the highest quality defensive end / edge rusher group, but they do have one of the deepest. So left defensive
they've
end,
got Greg Rousseau.
Greg Rousseau, yeah, Carlos Boogie Basham they drafted as well. AJ Epinesa,
That's a fucking amazing name, Boogie Basham.
it's brilliant, isn't it? And our boy Efe Obada as well, and Mario Addison too.
FA, get in there, son. Yeah, he could get some reps. I'd love to
Yeah,
see that.
I mean he's going to struggle this year with the addition of he's going to struggle to even make the roster with the addition of Greg Rousseau and Carlos Basham as well.
I
So
back my boy FA over Greg Rousseau. I'm not even gonna. That's not even a joke. Like,
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on your dislike of Greg Rousseau.
he's just
Just a bit trash.
Don't like what I saw of him at all. What do you think about the linebackers?
Well, the linebacking core looks all right to me. You've got Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds, AJ Klein. Like it looks very solid to me.
I mean, outside of Tremaine Edmonds though, like it's pretty average.
I love Matt Milano. I'm a massive Matt Milano fan.
Yeah, I guess he's a bit like Joe Show, but he goes a bit underappreciated, but actually is quite productive, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he falls trap again to being an off-ball linebacker. He never gets recognised because he doesn't stand out as an absolute like a hook defender, like a Mike linebacker, and he's not an edge rusher too. He's just sort of that in-between group, like the Kyle Van Noys of this world. So he's never going to get the same appreciation as the inside guys, but he's more than deserving of it. He'd made some great plays for them in the playoffs and down the stretch last year. So Matt Milano is one of my favourite linebackers in the league for sure.
Do you know anything about Levi Wallace, who's one of their starting
corners? He's sort of been a free.
White.
He's always been like a number 2 corner. I think Levi Wallace. I think he was at. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he spent some time at San Francisco. He's just an average number 2 corner, to be honest with you. And the depth they have behind that isn't particularly impressive either. They got Tyrell Dodson and Dane Jackson, who are 2 guys who I've just completely never heard of. Dane Jackson was a 7th round pick. I know that. So it's a bit of a weaker group. And then at nickel corner, they've got Teron Johnson, same as last year. He was solid. Solid.
I mean, obviously Tre'Davious White is amazing, but the depth outside of that doesn't look particularly good. They're going to struggle if they have any injuries in that secondary.
Yeah.
Obviously, their safeties are amazing. Their Jordan Poyer is pretty darn good, and Micah Hyde as well, one of the better safeties in the league.
Yeah, I think this is what definitely, again, like as it has been for the past 3-4 seasons, this is one of the best safety groups in the league. you've got the duo of Hyde and Poyer returning for yet another year. So it's a good side. It's a really good side.
So how do you think they'll do? I've got their schedule up. I'm not going to read through it, but it looks.
I don't think this Bills team is as good as they were last year. That's my issue.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be quite as good. And I think.
How did they do? What was their record last year? Were they the second best team in the AFC? Behind the Chiefs? I think they were, right? Maybe.
They definitely got. I know they got a first round bye. Let's just bring up their record.
Yes, they must have been the second best. Oh wait, did the second best even get a first round bye last year?
Let me just pull that up for you now. So the Bills' 2020 record was. Apologies for this, viewers. We should have really brought this up before recording this little vodcast for you now. So their record was 13-3. They're first in the AFC East, and they won divisional wildcard playoffs against the Colts. They won the divisional round against the Ravens, and then they lost to the Chiefs, as we all know, in the AFC Championship game. So they went 13-3. I think that's a very, very hard record to beat.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting there again.
Personally. No, I really don't. I don't see how the back end of their defense is really going to hold up that well. Obviously, you've got Trey White, one of the best corners in the league. We all know that. That's a given. But it's the rest of that group that kind of worries me. They're going to have to dial up some exotic looks and just be like sound schematically for the entire season if they're going to want to get back to that point. But I personally can't see how they will.
Do you think they'll still win the division though?
Yeah, they really, really shouldn't. Like, unless the Dolphins and unless Tua takes a huge step forward, then that division is still there. Like, Josh Allen is still one of the premier quarterbacks in this division or in this league,
and just got signed for fat checks as well.
Yeah, congrats, Josh Allen, for securing the bag there.
Yeah, and screw you, Josh Allen, for raising Lamar's price up, you bastard.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking at their schedule. Obviously, they get to play the Jets twice a year. I'd imagine they potentially could lose one against the Patriots, could potentially lose one against the Dolphins if they have a bad day at it. Outside of that, Steelers, Washington, the Texans.
I think they could be. I think they should be going 12-5 would be my guess.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the freaking extra game.
It's horrible, isn't it?
I'm going to go a little bit less. I'm going to say 11-6.
11-6. Have you been keeping note of all these predictions from past episodes? Obviously, I've been away.
No. It's a simple answer to that.
Okay, it's a no. That's fine.
Is that your just what you think they'll get, or
I think they will be a 13-5 team. I think their ceiling. Did I say 13? Yeah, no, sorry, 12-5.
5 doesn't even add up.
Yeah, 12-5. I apologize. 12-5 is what I think they will get. I think their ceiling as a team is probably 13-4. Really, I just can't see them winning as many games.
What about their floor?
Their floor. If everything goes badly on defense, they can't establish a running game at all. 10-7, 9-8.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I don't think they'll go as low as 9-8. I think 10-7 is probably the lowest they'll get, and then bar injuries, of course, and 13-5 seems like a reasonable ceiling. I can't imagine they'll get too much more than that.
Yeah, well, I think that's completely fair.
13-4, sorry.
So, Miami Dolphins. I would have loved to have this little chat with Matt present, but sadly he's got better things to do. Apparently,
I'm actually really glad he's not, because
he'll
just be insufferable. He'll be insufferable. He'll just
I enjoy it.
About how big a freaking jump Tua's going to make, definitely, for sure. He's going to make some outrageous claims about some random running backs who we don't even know who the fuck they are.
Patrick Laird.
Exactly. He'd just say like, "Oh yeah, Patrick Laird is going to be the best running back in the AFC," or just some outrageous shit that just means nothing.
I like it. It's fun when Matt gets obsessed with like something. He won't let it go. I love it.
You're just reciting shit he's seen on fan pages.
What would you do if you realised that Matt was the fan page?
Yeah, potentially. I'll tell you what. Here's the controversial take. I could see Tua getting benched for Jacoby Brissett during this season.
Slew, if you're listening right now, can you please use that as the intro or outro? Thank you very much.
I could see that happening.
Really?
Yeah. If new offensive scheme and everything comes in, still can't throw the ball downfield. We know Jacoby Brissett can.
I'm not convinced. What I
mean, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I could see it fucking happening.
I don't know. I don't think. Well, at the end of the day, he doesn't really have much of an excuse this year because he's got an absolutely fantastic receiving core. He's got Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Albert Wilson playing slot receiver with Jalen Waddle, who's likely going to take his spot. You've got Alan Hearns brought in as well. Preston Williams, guy I'm very fond of. He's physically unable to perform right now. He's on the PUP list, but I'm sure he will be taking over that X spot when Devontae Parker gets injured or Will Fuller gets injured. So, what's more likely to happen? It's going to be a Will Fuller injury, isn't it?
One of them's going to be injured, isn't it?
Yeah, one's going to get hurt. It's bound to happen. So
Will Fuller is suspended. Has he done PEDs again?
Oh, he might have done something stupid, but I can't see
Albert
that where
Wilson's
I'm looking.
Also okay, and obviously Jalen Waddle. I want to see what he's like.
Waddle's going to be fantastic. Let's not even go there. He's just
Alan Hearns. I forgot they had Alan Hearns.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not done anything in a while, but
he was very decent in the Jaguars back in the Blake Bortles era. But
in the Blake Bortles era,
the Blake Bortles, yeah,
he summed it up.
You laugh about it, but he almost took him to a Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, he was pretty much one drive away from it.
Yeah, pretty tragic. Guy Matt's quite excited about Lynn Bowden Jr. traded for from the Las Vegas Raiders. Bowden, what is it?
I've heard both. I think it's Bowden. I don't know.
Perfect. We'll go with Bowden then for today.
Probably like incorrectly pronounced.
Well, like how Tyrod Taylor is actually Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, exactly.
But no one's going to change, obviously.
I don't think he's actually really going to get the ball much, to be honest. At best, he might. What? We don't even really want him to be returning kicks because you've just got Jakeem Grant there, who's shown that he can do it. So
and Jalen Waddle.
I wouldn't personally have Jalen Waddle returning your punts. Or
I would just get the man some reps.
I mean, he's probably going to get enough reps as it is. Like,
I mean, currently he's listed as the backup slot receiver to Albert Wilson.
No, on mine he is the slot.
What depth chart?
I've got the ESPN depth chart up, and he is the slot receiver. It's Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, who is suspended as the second receiver, and then Jalen Waddle is wide receiver 3.
Right.
But I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think he'll probably start in the slot, to be honest. Otherwise, I mean, you've invested a first round pick in him, unless he's literally trash, which I don't see him being. I thought Jalen Waddle was very good in college.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tua trusts him a lot as well. Also, Mike Gesicki at tight end has been quietly amazing as well. Austin Jackson, left tackle, also pretty darn good. Serviceable, at least. I mean, he's not outstanding, but he'll do the job. I'm not sure too much about the rest of the offensive line.
See, the guy who I'm looking forward to seeing play this year is Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. One of my favorite offensive line guys. Like, he didn't make my top 5 purely because of
how is he one of your
limitations.
Pardon?
He was
my top 5, but he's one of my favorite. Not even your top 5.
He wasn't in my top 5, but he was one of my favorite under the radar guys. He's an absolute unit of a bloke. He's a
sleeper picks.
He is. He's like 6'8", 360 pounds.
When did they draft him?
Second round, 21st pick.
It's not even a sleeper then. Second round.
Okay, sorry. One of the more under
not
the
a
radar
sleeper.
guys.
Not in your top 5, Stan. Where you're chatting
I like
shit.
Liam Eichenberg, all right.
Yeah, no, this is the first I've heard of him, mate. I haven't heard you mention him once in that off season.
I've got him written down. I had a note.
Oh, do you? Show me the notes. Show me the notes.
I will bring it up to you after this podcast is made, and I will show you. I got a list of my sleepers. Liam Eichenberg's one of them. A big guy. I'm fond of my big guys. And you know the saying with offensive linemen, you can't move a fridge.
You can't. You simply can't.
He's a fridge. So Good luck
That was
getting
one of our
past him.
favourite little sayings in the off season. You can't move a fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's funny how they got Matt Skura from us, us being the Ravens, and he's not even starting on this depth chart I'm looking at. Michael
Yeah.
Dieter.
Dieter. Yeah, we'll go with Dieter. It looks like Dieter to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, right guard, they got Robert Hunt as well. Second-year player, drafted last year in the second round, 20th overall. Backing him up, we got Jermaine I can't say it. Illuminor. There you go.
Illumino.
Traded from New England. He was a starter in New England for a while, so you got good depth right there. And then you have Jesse Davis at right tackle. So perhaps that's the weakest spot of the offensive line. But
yeah, it's weird. It's like I don't think it's a particularly strong offensive line, but it does have decent depth still.
yeah, it's got veteran players like Solomon Kindley, Matt Skura, Jermaine Illuminor as backup, so they shouldn't be too worried. Right? I think it should be an average group. Like they did manage to perform above expected last year, so we'll see if they can continue that.
Although to be fair, all this
forward.
Dolphins offense in general needs to do is it's got one of the stronger defensive units in the game. So really, and the defensive minded head coach, a good defensive scheme. I think they just really just need to score anything above 14 points a game, and they're pretty much set.
Yeah, I'd lean towards like 21 points or more a game personally, just because of
It's a passing league.
It's a passing league. Exactly, Joe. You know, that's exactly
Well, they
how
do
I
have one
speak
of
as
the
well.
better secondaries in the league. Obviously, you've got well, start with the safeties actually. Jason McCourty and Eric Rowe, pretty darn good safety pair, and Xavier Howard, who I believe has just been paid, and Byron Jones, who is a pretty shut down guy, and Noah Igbenogany, the Igbenogany.
Hey, are you really gonna forget Matt's guy Nick Needham like that?
Yes.
Okay, fair play, good man.
I mean, he's listed here as what, the 6th cornerback on their depth chart.
He'll be a nickel though. He'll be starting nickel. Him or Needham
Noah, surely Noah. Noah.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about Igbenogany there for some reason. So yeah, Igbenogany and Nick Needham will probably be the starting slot corners, maybe rotating with each other. At the safety, this is perhaps one of the more underrated groups in the league. I think Eric Rowe from New England. Yeah. He was pretty fantastic last year. And then a fellow former New England Patriot is Jason McCourty, one of the McCourty twins. Pretty underrated pickup, I think, this offseason.
Did Jason McCourty play for New England, or was it just Tennessee?
No, McCourty, he joined his brother at New England for a couple of seasons, and now he's at the Dolphins. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Come on, Joe, wake up.
Is Javon Holland a rookie as well?
Javon Holland, yeah, one of my least favorite players in the draft. Who he probably will turn out to be like an absolutely solid, like a solid apex defender.
That's usually what happens when you call someone out for being shit. They just flex all over you.
He'll end up playing nickelback for them when they're in zone packages, and he just will ball out, like I know now because I've said he's crap.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't just say people are crap in general when they're stud athletes, but yeah, I think that would be funny to watch if anything. I think the weakest unit in this defensive front is probably the linebackers. Really, so they've got
I think it's better than it was last year.
Yeah, obviously they got rid of oh god, what's his name? I've forgotten him. He used to play for the Patriots. He's back at the Patriots now. Outside linebacker.
Or Kyle Van Noy.
Kyle Van Noy. Yeah, I mean, I think he played the end for them, but I mean, he didn't.
Outside
he basically
linebacker.
Didn't even play. He didn't play the whole year, but apparently he was a good, strong veteran presence to have. Andrew Van Ginkel.
He's a solid player.
Linebacker.
He's a solid player.
McKinney.
He's a very hard hitter. I'm a big fan of Jerome Baker as well. Great pass coverage guy, quite quick for a linebacker. A Dolphin since day one. I like him.
It's interesting how they've got Jalen Phillips here listed as a will linebacker and not. Oh, it's a 3-4. Okay, that makes sense.
It's a 3-4, and that third linebacker.
Why is he not starting in this? I don't know if ESPN's just got it wrong. I can't imagine he's not starting unless there's some sort of injury concern. But
it depends on the package, because obviously, like 3-4 teams, obviously they line up in like 4-3 fronts occasionally, like 4-3 sub fronts. So like he'll line up as edge rusher quite a lot of the time. Like he has to. We saw what he was like coming out of college.
Yeah, he looked like the most promising actual, like in terms of technique, edge defender in the draft.
Yeah, but obviously the stuff they're doing as well in Miami, it's a bit funky. It's not very it's not as usual, not a usual scheme compared to the rest of the NFL, but we like to see it. What they do is they use that third linebacker similar to how they do in New England, where they are a pure apex defender. They never come into they're never lined up like 5 yards off. They're always quite close to the line of scrimmage, but they're not a pure edge rusher at the same time. I wouldn't have thought Jalen Phillips would be used in that role, the same role that Kyle Van Noy was in last year. But yeah, we'll have to see. Looks like Andrew Van Ginkel will be stepping in for where Van Noy left off.
Yeah, they've also got, so I mentioned Jerome Baker in the inside, and then in the Sam position, Brennan Scarlett. Oh, Shaquem Griffin.
Yeah, Mr. One-Arm himself.
That does not define him as a player, okay?
I mean, that was the only reason he got hyped pre-draft. Let's be real here.
He was good. If he had both arms, he would have been a pretty top prospect at the time.
Yeah, but you're ignoring the fact he doesn't have both arms.
Yeah.
But either way, that did not hold Shaquem Griffin back. He was an undrafted. Was he undrafted or third round?
No, he's like 7th round or something. I think it was pretty late.
Got drafted.
By the Seahawks, right?
Got drafted by the Seahawks. He's now on defense for the Miami Dolphins. Let's see if he can ball out like he did at UCF.
Let's see if he can make the roster, to be honest. He's currently listed as the 3rd Sam linebacker. Sorry to be realistic, but if you're listed as 3rd at a position where,
there's one player there, yeah. The likelihood is you're not going to make it. So let's just take a holistic look at this Miami Dolphins team now.
Their interior D-line, though, real quick. Christian Wilkins, what a boy. Love the man. I love just how much he chats shit during games. It's just so funny.
Yeah, we love a shit stirrer.
And apparently Matt's favourite defensive lineman, Emmanuel Ogba, on the left defensive end side, who apparently has been balling out. I think he has been playing pretty well compared to he was almost a bit of a bust until, I guess, the Patriots and then the Dolphins. So could potentially be an above average starter there.
He is an above average starter. Like, he's not an all pro, as Matt would have you know, but he's a solid player, right?
And I think he's quite versatile as well.
Yeah, he can. He's big guy, athletic, can probably play 2 or 3 spots across that defensive line as well, which is a massive help for a team that's versatile as the Dolphins. Right. Let's have a look at this team and have a little guesstimate as to how they will finish. So as their ceiling, what do you think their best case scenario is?
Just looking at their schedule at the moment, they'll probably lose. They tend to beat the Patriots at home, don't they? So that will probably happen.
Yeah, they'd love to do that.
They're losing probably both games to the Bills. Probably losing to the Raiders. They'll maybe win against the Colts. They'll lose to the Bucks. They'll win against the Jags. They'll win against the Falcons. They'll win against the Texans. They'll lose to the Ravens. They'll win against the Jets twice. I mean, it's lucky they're in the AFC East, isn't it? Because they get to play the Jets twice a year. They'll probably be. I could see them maybe going like 9-8. Which is the new 8-8, I guess.
I think they're better than that. You see, I'm not going to jump on the Tua bandwagon.
I just don't trust the offense enough. Really, I don't trust the running backs at all. Like Miles Gaskin's your best guy. That you need some sort of. We were just saying with the Bills, but you need some sort of semblance of a run game, and I think the running game situation at the Dolphins is arguably worse. Especially now losing Matt Breida as well, who wasn't even that good for him, but at least it's another option.
But we're going for ceiling though here. We're going the best this team can be. I think is 11-6. I think this is a good football team. It's very, very, very well coached as well. Like they surprised us with the amount of wins they were able to achieve last year, purely because of the quality of coaching on defense.
I will agree. The coaching is very good. The defense is very good. The defense is going to win them the majority of their games, but having to rely on the defense to get turnovers. People like Xavier Howard leading the league in interceptions, having to rely on him doing that back to back, basically.
It won't happen again.
Yeah, and I think they were up there in terms of scoring defense as well. It's great to have that, but it's not going to be consistent year in and year out.
I do. You got to expect their offense to take a step forward, though. This is Tua's second year in the league. He's not going to be a complete bust. I'm certain.
I don't think he's going to be a complete bust. I just don't think he's going to be anything like. He's not going to blow our minds. He's not going to Justin Herbert this bitch.
He doesn't need to Justin Herbert this bitch, though. He doesn't need to blow our minds. All he needs to be is an average starting quarterback in this league. He needs to be able to run an offense that can put up 20 points a game, 14 points a game. That's all he needs to be able to do. Like,
I just haven't seen it.
I know you haven't seen it, but this is maybe a bit of a stab in the dark. We're going to have to trust that he's going to develop because he was picked 20th overall for a reason. He was touted as one of the best quarterback prospects in a while for a reason. There was the whole tank for Tua movement for a reason. I think it's not time to throw all our toys out the pram here. We should just have a little bit of faith in Tua for one more season at least, and then we can reevaluate the Dolphins' options because I still have a little bit of faith.
Yeah, I think potentially, I personally see their ceiling as 10-7. I don't think they're winning more than 10 games.
Okay, 10-7, 11-6. I think we're in the same ballpark there. So
what about floor-wise?
Floor. So if Tua completely just fails.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to determine the team's success. It's how Tua plays. Like the receiving core is fine. The running back core is okay.
In the offensive line scenario, okay. I've got Jacoby Brissett stepping in at some point.
Wow.
If Tua really flops, then Jacoby Brissett is going to have to step in. If Tua refuses to throw the ball downfield again, despite like the changes to the scheme and everything, then
new offensive coordinators, co-offensive coordinators, George Godsey and Eric Studsville.
Yeah, that scares me a bit as well. Having co-offensive coordinators, like
too many cooks spoil the broth.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it's still quite tight though. I could see them, their floor being 10-7 and their ceiling being 10-7 and their floor maybe 7-10, maybe 8-11. I think it's going to be not 8-11. Sorry, what the fuck am I? These freaking new 8-9. Sorry,
okay, 8-9. I think their floor's 6-11. I think they're going to be they're either going to hit high or they're going to go low. There's not going to be much of an in between for them, I don't think. It's either going to go well or it's not. Like Tua's either going to be a good quarterback or he's not, and that's what it boils down to, I think.
And also, if they do end up, for whatever reason, going with Jacoby, it's not like Jacoby's going to step in and win them a bunch of games either. He's just going to be able to throw the ball downfield more so than what we've seen so far at Tua. But yeah, that sounds reasonable, Staniel.
Good to hear it. Right, let's maybe. I think we've loitered quite a bit on the past couple of teams, and let's maybe try and speed things up. I know I've been going to quite a lot of depth on them as well, but we do have the NFC East to go through as well. So let's take maybe a briefer look at the New England Patriots this season. So the offense is looking. I'm still very torn on this offense. I think the offensive line is much, much, much improved as to how it was last year. Got Isaiah Wynn, Michael Onwenu, David Andrews, Shaquille Mason, and Trent Brown. This is perhaps one of the best groups in the league, maybe top 5, could we say?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, they lost, who is it again? The guard who also, did he go to the Chiefs?
Yeah, well, either way, it doesn't even matter because they've got Michael Onwenu, who they drafted out of the University of Michigan last year, absolute stud at left guard. And right guard, they got Shaquille Mason back again, dominating the league.
They really love Michigan and Alabama players.
They do love Michigan players. I love it. It's you know what you're getting. They've drafted Chase Winovich. They've drafted Josh Uche as well. They've got quite a few guys. They got quite a few. Did they draft Josh Uche? Yeah, they drafted Josh Uche.
Yeah, they've got him for sure. Yeah, this offensive line though, one of the best in the league. Did Isaiah Wynn, was he on the COVID list last year?
I think no. Isaiah Wynn tore his ACL. Isaiah Wynn.
Shaq Mason who was on the COVID list then?
I think it
One
might
of
be
them was,
Mason.
yeah, one of them was on the COVID list, so they're getting him back. In terms of, I mean, all around, they've got upper echelon players in that division. I want to see that you're touting Mike Onwenu as a boy, and obviously
He is a boy.
in
He
terms
proved
of
he's a boy.
drafting offensive, I mean, the Patriots haven't been great at drafting, but drafting offensive linemen, they have been pretty on the money.
Joe, he played last season. He was an absolute stud. Did you think
I take my comment back.
he was an absolute stud?
Okay, I'm just saying the Patriots weren't fun to watch last season.
No, they
ran
weren't
along
fun to
with
watch,
Cam.
and that's because of that man in the middle, Cam Newton. His mechanics deteriorated because of what I can only assume to be a lingering shoulder issue. So they drafted Mac Jones 21st overall. Mac Jones is not listed as starter currently, which means Cam Newton will be. But their success is going to be massively limited because of their wide receiver core. They got Nelson Aguilar and Jacoby Myers as their starters. N'Keal Harry backing them up with Kendrick Bourne as their number 4.
N'Keal Harry also wants a trade, right?
It's a pretty disgusting group of wide receivers, I'd say. But the one saving grace from this pass-catching group is their tight end core. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, they both signed them this offseason. Jonnu Smith from Tennessee had a massive season. Hunter Henry from the LA Chargers. It's looking pretty tasty.
Yeah,
and they're back.
I believe Hunter Henry is injured at the moment.
He's always injured. What's new there? And then in their running back group, they've got Damian Harris, who is predicted to have an absolutely huge season this season if he's the starter. Not that really means much to the Patriots because they rotate their running backs like it's I don't know. They change their running backs.
Hot potato.
Yeah, exactly. Sony Michel's back there as well. James White, longtime Patriot, and Jacoby Myers is also listed as a running back as well as a wide receiver. So that is a little bit interesting.
Well, I'd hope not because he's currently their second starting wide receiver.
Exactly.
So that'd be interesting.
Overall, I think that offense is just going to be held back by their QB and wide receivers. Like with the running game, I think is going to be absolutely explosive.
It depends. When do you think Mac Jones is going to step in?
I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will.
Do you think the Patriots is just going to sit on another disappointing season?
Yeah, I mean, I think their offensive line is too good for them to disappoint that much. Cam Newton might not throw for more than 200 yards a game, but their running back group is phenomenal. Like Sony Michel
through 3 games without collectively passing over 100 yards at one point.
Yeah, there was a lot of QB power stuff. I do have more faith in Cam this year because apparently his mechanics have looked better, and I must say he does look to be throwing the ball better.
I have seen that as well. Yeah, he's throwing a lot less overthrowing it with his shoulder and just
his mechanics look a lot more fluid, and he looks like he's more comfortable with the ball in hand, which is good to see. So before we take a look at what we think this offense can produce in terms of record, let's just flip over to the defensive side of the ball and have a look at the dark side.
Flip that shit.
Flip it over. So in the trenches, they've got Dietrich Wise Jr., Lawrence Guy, Devon Godshaw from the Miami Dolphins, and Henry Anderson from the New York Jets.
And Christian Barmore. Yeah, I almost forgot about him.
He could end up being a stud, you know? He could end up being a stud.
And also, that's the biggest downside we had against Barmore is that he only got put in on passing downs, which he probably will here, but he'll probably be put in situations where he's one-on-one and can beat a guy and get to the QB. So it's almost a perfect situation for him. Really.
Exactly, especially with how Belichick is at scheming. You've got some really talented guys in this pass rushing group, and the outside they're going to have to pay attention to. You've got Ronnie Perkins, drafted out of the University of Oklahoma, Chase Winovich as well, University of Michigan.
Indeed.
Matt Judon,
the boy.
Oh, jinx.
The traitor, the absolute traitor.
Don't get too butthurt, yeah. And they got Josh Uche as well from the University of Michigan, a guy Bill Belichick absolutely loves, from what I've heard. He's a sort of in-between player, not quite a defensive end, not quite an outside linebacker.
A lot of depth on these outside linebackers positions, don't they?
I would agree with you there. Donta Hightower as well, just absolutely phenomenal.
Absolute stud.
Phenomenal middle linebacker
I think he also didn't play. Yeah, he didn't play last season. He was off. Yeah.
Yeah, he did a COVID and decided not to play.
Did a COVID.
It's understandable. It's a virus sweeping the nation, and I think he was well within his rights.
He had a baby and stuff, so yeah,
exactly.
fair play to him.
Fair play to the
Yeah,
man.
obviously, and then you've got Stephon Gilmore, absolute
Oof.
stud. Jalen Mills coming in at corner
Green
as
Goblin,
well. The Green Gobbo.
the
Um,
self-proclaimed Green Goblin, who no
he
one else
doesn't
calls the
look
Green
like
Goblin.
he's currently listed as their fourth corner. I don't know if he's going to play slot for them. He might even play a bit of safety depending on whatever the hell happens.
Yeah.
JC Jackson also is a pretty solid starting corner there.
Oh, he was phenomenal. He got a load of picks last year.
Yep. Devin McCourty doesn't age somehow. Don't know how he's still doing it. He's like
We love to see it.
35 at this point, and he's
We
still
love to see it.
still
Adrian
a
Phillips back there as well from the Los Angeles Chargers. Kyle Duggar, who they drafted last year out of, I want to say, Lenore Ryan University. Bit of an obscure choice, but Patriots got him in the second round.
if they drafted him from there, then it must mean he's good.
Exactly. Exactly. So overall, this Patriots team playing in the somewhat improved AFC East now. It's no
Indeed.
longer the AFC least, I don't think. This is a much better division. Like, just having looked through three of these four teams here, I'm really looking forward to seeing the interdivisional play here.
Same.
It's
I
be
think,
fun.
like I said, I think Dolphins and Bills, they could potentially snag one of those games out of two. They'll beat both of their Jets games. Against the Saints, I could see them winning that. The Bucks, it's a no from me. Texans, I could see them winning that. So that's at least 4. Cowboys, yeah, I'm going to say yeah. Chargers, they'll probably fuck it over at the end, so the Patriots will win. Panthers, I could see them winning. Browns, no. Falcons, yes. Titans, no. Colts, yes. So with that, beating the Jags at the end, that's at least 9 wins. Potentially, if they win the other 2 of their divisional games, I could see them getting 11 and 7 maybe as a ceiling. 11 and 6, sorry.
Yeah, I think 11 and 6 is reasonable. I think that would have to involve Cam Newton, Nelson Aguilar, and Jacoby Myers all having huge years. Like, one of the two of them would have to hit 1,000
Or
yards.
Mac
Like
Jones coming in.
my money would be on Jacoby Myers having a little breakout season this year. To be honest with you, I would.
Yeah.
In fact,
he does struggle to run routes, though, doesn't he?
No, I don't think so. I think he really excelled last season. He was one of the only bright spots.
Wait, is that not the guy that kept fucking up the routes?
No, that was Philip. That was Philip Dorsett, and he was long gone.
Yes. Philip
He
Dorsett.
gone.
He was
trash.
amazing.
He was not good.
Now you've said it, he's going to be amazing for whatever team he's playing for.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've completely jinxed it. So Jacoby Myers, I think breakout season, maybe 800 yards plus, if he's lucky.
Yeah, I don't see them losing more than 8 games. Sorry,
Less than.
Yeah, I don't see them winning less than 8 games.
Okay,
so
yeah, I can join you on that.
Floor 8 and 9.
Yeah,
8 and 9.
Yeah, no Bill Belichick team's going to do worse than that.
No.
This is
even last year, where they didn't look amazing at all, they still had a pretty decent season. So,
yeah. So let's take a little dive into the last team in the AFC East, and one of my favorite teams going forward in the coming years, the New York Jets. Rob Saleh, the new head coach, has come in from the San Francisco 49ers, an already proven defensive mastermind. He managed to do wondrous things with the 49ers defense in their Super Bowl run and last season when they lost countless players to injury and COVID. Offensively, Saleh brought with him Mike LaFleur, brother of Matt LaFleur and West Coast scheme aficionado, to run the offense and nurture and look after the development of Zach Wilson.
Yeah, good choice. We've got Saleh. Yeah, I'm liking the pick of Zach Wilson. I also like what they did in the first round, drafting Elijah Vera Tucker.
Oh yeah,
at that left guard position. That left side of the offensive line now with Mekhi Becton and Elijah Vera Tucker looks pretty darn tasty. George Fant as well at right tackle. Not a bad little guy.
Not a bad one at all.
So I think offensive line wise, they look pretty good. That's
Yeah,
good, obviously, for
much
a
improved
young
from where they have
QB.
been.
Exactly, and you need that with a young QB. Obviously, picking up Tevin Coleman, he's a seasoned vet at running back. He's shown that he can work.
In San Francisco as well, in Mike LaFleur's scheme. What's not to like?
Exactly. And I also like one of the Michael Carters who went at
He's
their
listed as number 4
running
though
back.
currently. Tevin Coleman's listed as starter. Then behind him you've got LaMichael Pirine out of Florida, Ty Johnson, and then you've got Carter and Josh Adams.
This is where ESPN's fucking me over because it's saying that he's listed at number 2. But that's interesting.
My depth chart was updated on the 11th of August, so yesterday.
Maybe you're more
Maybe I'm more
up
up to
than I
date.
am. Picking up Corey Davis as well at wide receiver, who
Huge.
Yeah, I mean he started off his career on a bit of a slippery, like not looking that special with the Tennessee Titans, but he picked it up later on. Jamison Crowder, bit of a stud. He's been basically the only thing they've had for a while now. Keelan Cole, also a great pickup from the Jags there. And Elijah Moore, who, despite some drama, I believe at practice, he just walked out. I don't know if it was, I don't think it was even injury related. He just walked out of practice. So that's
interesting.
Not looking great. But if worse comes to worse, they also have Denzel Mims, who they picked up last year.
I'm looking forward to seeing him develop.
Yeah. So I think wide receiver room actually looks pretty good. In fact, the offense in general, not looking that bad.
It looks good. It's a good football team.
Yeah.
It is a good football team. I really like this team.
Yeah. I think it's weird because their defense actually didn't. It was almost like last year they were just put in situations where eventually, like, what can you fucking do?
It's
with
actually a really good
coach
team.
who basically wanted to tank. I mean, with Greg Williams calling that freaking press coverage on what was on like 4th
all
and
out
long
blitz,
or something,
leaving their undrafted rookie corner Lamar Jackson on.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. But this year, I think I'm really looking forward to seeing this Jets team. Like Rob Saleh, Mike LaFleur, 2 of the best coordinators in the game.
Yeah,
it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Mike LaFleur's going to do some funky stuff at running back. I think there's going to be a lot of rotation. There's going to be a lot of motion, a lot of that sort of classic for what we got used to seeing at the 49ers at this point. And it's really interesting to see what that will look like with this Jets offense, because it does look like it's massively improved and they've made a lot of key pickups this offseason. I really like the coaching. I really like their GM as well, Joe Douglas. He's one of the better GMs in the league. Everyone sort of gives a lot of praise to him, and he's obviously done pretty good acquiring the talent here. It's just whether or not they're ready to perform now, or whether they still need a few years. I think they might. I mean, trusting it all in a rookie QB with Zach Wilson might be a bit of a push, but I mean, their defense. Let's talk about it because it still looks pretty darn good. I mean, defensive front, you've got Carl Lawson, who's pretty darn good. Sheldon Rankins, Williams.
I think Carl Williams is going to be the guy they need. He's like the missing piece, because we spoke quite a lot last year down the stretch, especially after that Rams game where they somehow beat them, about how talented the defense actually is when you look at things. Carl, like the one thing we said that they were missing is an edge rusher who can just get to the QB. And I know that's maybe oversimplifying it, but that was what they were really lacking in last year. So to answer that, they signed Carl Lawson. They've got Quinn Williams already on the inside, and they've got guys like Nate Shepard, who I'm a massive fan of, and Folaronzu Fatukasi as well, Sheldon Rankins, Michael Dwumfor. It's looking like a pretty talented group. And then on top of that,
John Franklin Myers as well.
John Franklin Myers. There you go. There's even more. Then at linebacker as well, they look pretty solid. They got CJ Mosley.
Didn't play last season.
They've got him back.
Possibly still going to be the best linebacker in the division this year, interior linebacker.
We'll see about that. You got Jared Davison from Detroit and Hamza Nazaruddin, who was previously listed as a free safety in college who's now listed as their starting linebacker, ahead of experienced guys like Blake Cashman. So be interesting to see how he performs at linebacker, perhaps being used as more of a hybrid guy. Then in the secondary, we've got Bleswan Austin at corner, Bryce Hall, who actually played pretty well. He's a second-year player now. And then at safety, the great Marcus May and Ashton Davis.
Marcus May is one of the best safeties in the league, for sure.
Oh, 100%.
You forgot the second Michael Carter.
The second Michael Carter.
Who plays corner. He's listed as, on my whack depth chart, he is possibly a nickel corner.
Yeah, he's listed as the second nickel corner behind Javelin Guidry.
Really?
Yep.
That is interesting.
It's been interesting, actually, because they had one of the best nickel corners in the league who's only just been picked up as a free agent. They had Brian Poole playing the nickel last year.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why they didn't bring him back.
Me neither. He's a sneaky good player. Sneaky good.
Yeah.
Right, go on then. Ceiling for the Jets, Joe.
Oh, I like the talent, but I think they're still a few years off from really, maybe a year off from really coming out and doing amazing. I think from where they were last season, they're going to make leaps and bounds. I think the ceiling is probably 9-8. Winning season would be a really good season for them.
I think if everything goes well, they could be 11-7.
11-6.
Oh, 11-6. You know the one. 11-6. I really think Zach Wilson is that talented, and their wide receiver core, like Denzel Mims, I think is going to be the missing piece here. If they need either Denzel Mims or Keelan Cole to step up here, and then I think they can be a really, really successful football team.
Well, they've got 4 legitimate guys there now.
Yeah, they've got 4 legitimate proven guys, and Elijah Moore, who could perhaps step up as well. Braxton Berrios, he was sneaky good last year.
Sneaky good.
So, and then if it all turns to rubbish and it all just goes down the pan, I think their floor is going to be like 5 wins, 6 wins, 6-11. I'm going to say,
which is still a massive step up from what they were.
Yeah, it is still a step up, but considering the talent they have, not only on the field but off the field in that coaching box.
Yeah,
it would be a massive, massive shame if they were anything. If they don't win 8 games, they should be very cross.
I say floor wise, 4.
4.
I guess was it 4-13 now?
I'm okay. I'm gonna go with my floor is 6 wins. I can't see them winning less than 6. They're a good team. A very good team.
I think they're talented. I just think it's going to take maybe longer than people are I don't think they're going to completely turn it around.
Right.
After 1 year, it takes a while to sort of get out of that losing culture as well.
I think the culture issues, they will be somewhat ratified by now due to the fact they've got an all new coaching staff.
Yeah, but it's what I mean. Like it's more than just the veteran players there and stuff. It will take more than just one off season to really, really change that. Get used to you're coming off the back of winning 1 game.
Yeah, and you've got to remember as well they're in a very, very tough division even.
Yeah, the division's good. So that's personally what I think.
Right.
Cool.
That is us done.
Switch over to the NFC.
Yeah, let's go. Switching over from the AFC to the NFC side of things, the NFC East. Mike McCarthy is in his 2nd year with the Dallas Cowboys. And Quinn brought in his DC from the Atlanta Falcons, where he was fired.
We know how he's great.
Fantastic! Yeah, but this offense here, I think this is the best offense in the league on paper. I don't think anything. I think maybe this and the Chiefs, they stand a head and shoulders above everyone else in this league. We look at that wide receiver core. Amari Cooper.
The Buccaneers don't exist.
They do exist. Okay, top 3, maybe 1A, 1B, and 1C. Okay, 1A, 1B, and 1C. They're all the same.
What are you on about?
What am I on about?
If we're talking about the offensive line from a few years back, fair enough, but we're not.
It's their back. They had massive holes in them from last year. This is the offensive line they hoped to have last year, but obviously due to injury, COVID, all that sorts of things, it wasn't able to happen. But this line is phenomenal. Tyron Smith at left tackle, Connor Williams out of Texas left guard, Tyler Beardaz from the University of Wisconsin at center.
I do like Tyler Beardaz, to be fair.
Yeah, your typical smash mouth
I don't think
Power,
Tyron Smith is what he was
yeah,
personally.
he's still at the top. Still a high-end tackle. And you got Zach Martin at right guard and Lyle Collins right tackle. At tight end, Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz. To me, that whole pass blocking, run blocking group, absolutely phenomenal. And
I
then
also don't
behind,
think Zach Martin is what he was as well.
they
We
will
were
be
talking
fine.
about them like Tyron Smith and Zach Martin when Travis Frederick was there as well. Like it's not.
It's not the
We're a
same,
few
but it's
years
as good as they
removed
could
from that.
get. It's still a top group of offensive linemen. And then more to the point, it's going to be what's behind those guys that count. The three men who could potentially elevate this offense to new levels. Dak Prescott, he's back. The former fourth round pick, he's back. His leg is all healed,
He
really. And then
kind of.
and then either side of him, you've got Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. Now, Tony Pollard is a guy who steps in when Zeke Elliott struggled, was able to capitalize when given more totes of the football. So we might be able to see him get maybe more of an even snap share with Zeke Elliott this year, do you think?
I think
He was that good.
he is, but I think this is the Cowboys, and part of like the big marketing machine and stuff is just behind Zeke Elliott. So I think he's still going to get the majority of the snaps. Maybe when he's injured, Tony Pollard will come in and inevitably do play his heart out and do pretty well again. But I don't see Tony Pollard getting a significant amount of snaps every game with a healthy Zeke Elliott there,
Right.
personally. However, this wide
Offensive.
receiver room is fucking amazing, to be
It
fair.
is.
Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, who played his fucking heart out while everyone else was injured last year, completely overlooked how good he was because of how bad the rest of like the quarterback play was, basically. But he was quietly one of the best rookies of the year, you know, behind obviously Justin Jefferson, and Michael Gallup, who is absolutely solid. Like he's a very good receiver. Doesn't really get enough praise as he should do. Depth
Yeah.
wise, behind that, not amazing. Maybe Cedric Wilson potentially, but other than that, like, it's nothing to eat your heart out. But those three are looking pretty darn tasty.
Well, yeah. I'm a massive fan of this unit as a whole. I'm going to be honest with you. The entire offense for me, I think they're going to be able to score
Blake
north of
Jarwin at tight end. You're a massive fan of Blake Jarwin at tight end.
their tight end doesn't matter. The tight end group's fine; they'll do the job when needed. But it's the wide receiver core, O line, and quarterback that are going to do the job for them this season. Like we saw last season before Prescott went down, they're going to light up this league, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
Dak's still questionable at the moment because of his ankle, though.
He'll be
He
back.
did pop it back in during that preseason game, apparently.
Absolute nutter. Absolute nutter.
Madman, considering it was a preseason game and he wanted to get back on the field, so he just popped his ankle back into place.
Love it. Defensively, they've improved a lot. Let's be real here. They've improved a fair bit since last season. Admittedly, their safety group, they haven't solved any of the problems there, but elsewhere on the field is looking a lot better. So they got DeMarcus Lawrence, Carlos Watkins, Neville Gallimore, and Randy Gregory on the defensive line.
Yeah, defensive line looks okay. I like DeMarcus Lawrence. I like Randy Gregory. You know, the others are all right as well. But yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. I think the linebacker situation, I mean, you obviously picked up Micah Parsons in the draft. They also have Keanu Neal, who I did not realize until just now looking is there. Looks like that he'll be playing as that second inside linebacker there beside Jaden Smith, which is interesting. However, Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch did not look very good at all last season.
Different scheme now.
Yeah, and they also have Jabril Cox, who they for some reason picked up, who I actually really liked as a linebacker prospect. I had him as one of my sleeper picks, I believe. So, I mean, I don't know why they picked him, but he could potentially also step in there somehow in the mix of Keanu Neal and everything else. So that'd be an interesting one to watch. I think they've got good depth at linebacker there. They definitely do. But I don't really. I'm gonna have to see how the rookies play, how they get adjusted. But this, I mean, obviously you picked up Trevon Diggs at corner.
Hmm.
You've got your man, boss man, fat Kelvin Joseph, who I'm a massive fan of. However, those safeties look so just
Bad.
nothing.
They are bad safeties. I don't think there's any way of
Donovan
getting around that.
Wilson, DeMonte
Casey.
Casey.
It's not a good group. They haven't really fixed it from last year. Like, at least they don't have Darian Thompson there starting anymore. Like, that's a positive.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
it's not going to be pretty back there, but yeah, I don't think
hey,
there's no way to brushing it over really. Like, apart from Kelvin Joseph, there's no one I can get excited about in that defensive back group at all.
and maybe Malik Hooker could be not injured
Yeah.
for a season and live up to his, pre-draft hype.
Yeah, that'd be
The next
bloody
Henry.
considerate of him, wouldn't it? Staying healthy.
Yeah.
Best ability is availability.
Exactly. What do you guys?
So-
what do you think about ceiling, floor? How are you feeling?
I love the front end of this defense. I really do. But it's just the back end that I'm really going to struggle to get behind yet again. But the
Yeah.
Cowboys' offense are going to be capable of scoring in high volumes because of, well, just how they were last season when Dak was there.
Yeah, when Dak was there, they looked fucking amazing.
They
looked
were
like world
amazing.
beaters.
That's what I mean by
However,
one of the best offenses in the league. So
their defense sucked dick.
Yeah, my ceiling for
Nothing
this
wrong
team,
with sucking dick, by the way, but their defense
they
just wasn't very good.
I'm going 12-5 as their ceiling. It's a good football team.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I actually thought you were going to say something ridiculous like 15-2, but
No.
yeah, 12-5. I could see that as a ceiling for sure. I mean, I'm just looking at their schedule. Yeah, they've got tough games against the Chiefs, then probably like the Cardinals. I can imagine them losing both the Washington games. They might win one of them. I can imagine them. I think the Vikings are going to be better this year. I think the Broncos are going to be better this year. So I think they could. Obviously, they're playing the Buccaneers first thing as well. But I mean, they get to play the Giants twice. They get to play the Eagles twice. I could see them floor. If Dak stays healthy, and that just assuming no injuries, which never happens, like floor 8 and 9, just below 500.
That's fair. Yeah, I think their floor is probably gonna be about that, just because of how good their offense is. They can probably carry that tragic secondary.
This could be like a classic, like New Orleans Saints situation where you basically have to just keep scoring before the Saints defense got good.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Giants. Let's talk Giants now. Daniel Jones in his third year in the league.
It's make or break, isn't it?
It's got to be make or break at this point. He's so average. How long is it before you just think, hang on a sec, let's restart here. Let's go grab ourselves the QB of our future, because Daniel Jones, he's not lived up to any sort of hype that there was. There wasn't a lot of hype around him pre-draft, but any of that hype is well and truly gone now. He's got to prove his worth.
I think he outdid people's expectations of not being terrible in the first year.
Yeah, but that's not a good thing. You can't say, oh yeah, he's a good player, because he's not shit.
Yeah,
he's not a good player.
He wasn't absolute shit. But other than that, I don't really trust Daniel Jones to win them a bunch of games. He's not a quarterback. You can kind of be like, oh, we're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. We need to make a comeback. I'm not trusting Daniel Jones to lead that. The guy who ran it for 90 yards, fell over,
stumbled,
and then managed to not. They didn't even score a touchdown on that drive. So
pretty tragic.
That was such a tragic play. However, Saquon, I'm hoping will be healthy. Saquads, I'm hoping he'll be healthy. He's still listed as questionable here. I don't know how up to date this is, but I have heard that apparently he might need a little bit more time for his knee,
perhaps,
or ankle or whatever it was. And I mean, behind him, if they're starting the season without him, they've got Corey Clement, Alfred Morris, Devontae Booker. Serviceable guys, but nothing really out of the park that special.
No, they're all backups at the end of the day.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing what Kadarius Toney does. Apparently, a lot of teams actually wanted him. they're going to use him as apparently the Jags really wanted him when and that's why they picked up
ETN.
Etienne to play him in that sort of role, which is an interesting take. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to him. They picked up John Ross as well, which I completely forgot about. It'll be interesting to see if they can scheme him open in some way. I do think one of Daniel Jones's strengths is his timing on like passes and ability to through not seeing people come free blitzers, just throwing it in the face of pressure. So on those timing routes, he can actually kind of get going. So it'll be interesting to see if they can scheme John Ross open. And Cardarius Tony coming over the middle and getting those sort of rack yards will be interesting.
Yeah, Kenny Golladay's a big addition, obviously. Proven X receiver in Detroit. Got Sterling Shepard at number 2. Darius Slayton.
Like a fucking big addition as well.
Yeah. But as always is the downfall with the Giants, the offensive line is looking rather poor as usual. Andrew Thomas and Will Hernandez are the only real big names. Andrew Thomas kind of disappointed.
Solder. They've got Nate Solder.
He's currently listed as a backup behind Thomas and Matt Part.
Surely not, though.
He's listed as a swing tackle. Yep. Drafted him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, I don't know. Nate Solder, he's an ex-Pro Bowler. I would imagine he probably gets some significant time.
Either way, the line is not looking good.
No. Andrew Thomas is not the left tackle they thought he was. Yeah, especially at the position they got him, first left tackle taken last year, and he has so far been a disappointment. I'd like to see him make a step up because, I don't really like seeing people become busts, to be honest. But yeah, the strength here is really in the offensive weapons and not so much the offensive line. You forgot to mention as well in the offensive weapons, Pro Bowler Evan Engram making it on the name alone.
Absolutely tragic.
And Carl Rudolph as well. Did not realize they had him.
Rudolph the Red Zone Reindeer, as they once called him in Minnesota.
Indeed. What about that defense, Dan?
What about that defense? Let's have a little look. So, on that defensive line,
looking pretty.
Leonard Williams, Austin Johnson, Dexter Lawrence II. Not looking too pretty. Then at linebacker, you've got Lorenzo.
As well.
Yeah, Lorenzo Carter, Blake Martinez, who's an absolute stud.
He's good.
Tay Crowder, and Oshane Zimenez. Azeez Ojulari was another guy they picked up as an edge rusher. Not looking too good so far. Then we take a look at the secondary as well. James Bradbury, one of the best man corners in the league last season. Yes, one of the best corners in the league, Matt Burns-Peak, if you're listening. He's joined by Logan Ryan at free safety, Jabril Peppers at strong safety, and then on the other side at corner, Adoree Jackson.
Jabril Peppers was actually really good at safety last year.
Oh yeah, Peppers was a good player.
He actually was, and he's always been kind of like a tweener between like a linebacker and a safety, but they just played him at strong safety, and he shat on people. He was really good. He was a surprising addition there that's really turned out well for them. They got him via trade, right, with the Browns?
Yeah, they got him from the Browns in the
it was some sort of trade. They threw him away as as an extra in a trade, basically. Adoree Jackson as well.
No, it was in the Odell trade, wasn't it? It was in the Odell trade.
Yeah. I think they just sort of chucked.
Yeah, it was like, here, have Peppers. He was good in college.
Sure. And he actually has turned out to be very good for him. So I could see, you know what? That secondary, not bad.
It's a good secondary. The secondary is the strength of that defense, for sure.
Yeah, especially compared to last season. I think they could really make leaps and bounds there.
Having Logan Ryan and Adoree Jackson there is going to massively help as well. I think there's two solid players. Then James Bradbury, he absolutely shone last season. One of the best man corners in the league by far.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Blake Martinez and possibly Danny Shelton, maybe Leonard Williams, I don't see them stopping the run very well.
No, me neither. I think they're going to
defensive front.
Yeah, they're going to really struggle in that respect. Like, unless Lorenzo Carter can step up and be what they wanted him to be. He was a 3rd round pick in 2018. Touted as a guy who could potentially succeed. Hasn't really stepped up. You've got Reggie Ragland as well. Bit of a has-been.
Reggie Ragland.
Yes. Reggie Ragland was a starter in KC for a while.
I like how you called him Reggie.
I said Reggie.
Reggae.
I definitely said Reggie.
Rewind the tape on that.
Reggie. Yeah, have a little listen back. I said Reggie.
Okay, all right.
So, floor, ceiling. What are we thinking about these New York Giants?
If Daniel Jones absolutely shits the bed, I could see them going 3-14 as the floor.
Yeah, they're in a similar situation with Daniel Jones as the Miami Dolphins are in with Tua. In the fact that
Oh, Matt is going to be so angry you've
you
said
know what,
that.
I don't care, Matt. You can be as angry with
Do
me as
not
you
care.
want, but you know it's true. Daniel Jones and Tua Tagovailoa have both disappointed. So, and we know that the success of the offense, because it's a passing league, depends on the QB. And if Daniel Jones, if he shits the bed, it's not going to be a pretty season. If he does well and he succeeds, it's going to be not a pretty season still, but still an okay one, just because the rest of the team's a bit trash.
I think I'm looking at it now, and I think they've actually got a pretty tough schedule. I could only really see their ceiling if they win some of their divisional games, which I don't see them really winning that many.
8 and 9,
No, like
9 and
7,
8. Oof.
7 and I guess 10 now.
7 10. I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna go.
But can
8
I just read out the
and,
schedule? They've got week 1 against the Broncos, then week 2 against Washington, then the Falcons, who they could beat, the Saints, the Cowboys, the Rams, the Panthers, who they could beat, the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Bucks, the Eagles, the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Bears, and Washington.
That's not a very nice schedule. I'm gonna go with you there. I'm gonna agree. 7 and 9 is their ceiling.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that potentially they could take a significant step up, but I've just looked at that and I'm like,
Yeah.
Especially that defensive front and that offensive line. I mean, on both sides, the big guys there need to do more.
They need to do good. Be a good football team.
Be better, Stan.
Exactly. That's what they got to do. So let's move on then from the still somewhat tragic New York Giants to the Philadelphia Eagles. Slew's Philadelphia Eagles. Sadly he couldn't join us today. Yeah, he's on the non-football injuries list.
He's on the pup list.
Yeah, physically unable to perform. I think when he is able to perform, I think he just chooses not to. Sorry, Slow. That was a bit uncalled for. Let's take a look at the Eagles now. So wide receiver core, Greg Ward Jr., Jalen Reagor, and Devonta Smith will be their starting wide receivers. Travis Fulgham, controversially not a starter. On their offensive line, Andre Dillard, Isaac Seumalo, Jason Kelsey, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson, who they're still clinging on to somehow.
Lane Johnson's good still. I mean, he gets a bit injured, but I mean, he's still one of the better right tackles in the league.
Right, you can't move a fridge, but
exactly.
what good is a fridge that's got no wheels on it? Because then you can't move it around.
You simply can't move it, my friend.
You can't move it, but you can get around it quite easily. That's what I feel has happened with Lane Johnson.
Fair enough. I've got more faith in him than you do, however. He's my boy. He's my Hunger Games boy.
He's your Hunger Games boy. And Stu is here listening in the private chat, and he said he didn't say reggae.
Listen back.
So there you go.
He's lying.
Yeah, listen back, Stu. Confirm it. Oh, wrong Stan. So I didn't say Reggie, apparently. I'm sorry.
He's saying you were wrong about Lane Johnson. He's saying you were wrong about Lane Johnson, my friend. Which you are.
No, I'm not. Lane. He was wrong on both accounts.
Excellent.
Can we kick Slow out the call? Is that possible?
I think if we kicked Stu out of the call, we wouldn't be here. So the stream would just end.
Okay.
However, I think
let's move on then.
So the rest of their line, Jason Kelsey, obviously still one of the better centers in the league. Brandon Brooks is a good guard there. Andre Dillard, who's listed as the starting left tackle. Meh. But they also have Jordan Mailata, who has come in. He's a bit of a fridge himself.
Bit of a fridge. How much of a fridge?
He's one that you can't move.
One that you can't move. That sounds like a pretty good fridge to me.
Stocked full of meat. Big juicy meat. According to Slew in the private chat, he is now saying that Dillard is injured and is week to week, and Jordan Mailata is apparently the starter. based on what the rumors in training camp have been saying.
So is Slew falling for training camp bullshit?
I think he is, yeah. If
Slew's,
only he was here to defend himself.
He's been spending too much time with Matt, clearly.
Exactly. I mean, technically he is here. He could literally add himself to the stream right now and defend himself. However, he refuses to. Anyway, moving past their offensive line, who, aging but good, in my opinion, is obviously their tight end room. I think is probably the strongest, one of the stronger ones in the league, really, with Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, who I have heard Jalen Hurts has been targeting very heavily in training camp above the wide receiver options there. Speaking of which, Devonta Smith, excited to see what he does. I don't think he's been that active in training camp. I think he's got a bit of a niggling injury at the moment. I think, was Jalen Reagor injured all of last season?
I'm
fairly sure he barely started a game. But I think it was because of injuries. Yeah, Slew is just confirmed. But Greg Ward also...
He did play. I know he definitely did play.
Greg Ward had shining moments last year. And so did Travis Fulgham as well. So...
Yeah, Fulgham was sneaky good in fantasy some weeks.
Exactly. He's inconsistently great.
Inconsistently great. There you go.
And they've also got the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Flacco, who's going to end up starting for them at some point. The
elite quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Oh, no. It means if Jalen Hurts, I would never wish injury on anyone, but if Jalen Hurts gets benched for whatever reason, Joe Flacco's stepping in, and it means that Slew has to support Joe Flacco, which is amazing to me. Slew's going to hope that Joe Flacco wins the MVP, which is brilliant.
It's fantastic, isn't it? And then in the running back room, either side of Jalen Hurts will be Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. And Slew's boy from the draft, Kenny Gainwell.
Do they still have Jordan Howard?
Yep, he's listed as their second overall running back.
Oh, okay.
Kenny Gainwell back there as well, more importantly, with Kerryon Johnson as well.
It doesn't matter because Miles Sanders is one of the better running backs in the league, quietly. He's fucking amazing. I really think a lot of young running backs could emulate what he does. He's
fantastic.
Mix of patient and just quick.
Yep. Average to below average offense, could we agree?
Yeah, I think they're average, really. I think, nothing is screaming out at me as I think in the QB room, I think they had kind of some early success with Jalen Hurts with that whole, he's a young mobile QB and people have to kind of adjust to that a bit and they might win a few games there. But I really don't see him making a massive step up in year 2. Especially if we're hearing that he's targeting his tight ends a lot in training camp. That's a sign of a more inexperienced quarterback, in my opinion.
Yeah.
However, obviously their tight ends are pretty darn good.
Yeah, in my eyes, still this is average to below average. Probably leaning towards below average more in terms of the offense and the defense. It's not looking pretty.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. It's not looking pretty. On the defensive front, they've got Derek Barnett, Fletcher Cox, all reliable, Javon Hargrave from Pittsburgh, and Brandon Graham. Then the linebacker core is looking especially weak as well.
Ryan Kerrigan, by the way.
Ryan Kerrigan there, and Josh Sweat as well, Montez Sweat's brother. And then at linebacker, they have Gernard Avery? Who knows?
Gennard,
maybe even that. And then you've got Eric Wilson, proven Mike linebacker, in to start Mike. And then you've got Alex Singleton at will. This linebacker core it hasn't looked good for a while. Ever since Jordan Hicks left, it's not looked good.
Very much, yeah. Yeah. I'm not really liking what I'm seeing there. No. I'm also really not, outside of Darius Slay, I'm not that impressed with any of the secondary.
No. Anthony Harris I like.
I like Anthony Harris is okay. He's good.
He's very good in Minnesota
Rodney
last season.
McLeod is and
average.
Steven Nelson, nah, I'm good, thanks.
I'm good as well,
They've
Joe.
also got, I think McPherson in the is he in the slot or is it
Avonte
Maddox?
Maddox is their starting slot
Yeah.
corner.
Okay.
So
So yeah,
below average team, one of the worst teams in the NFL, I think.
I mean, if your defensive line is your strongest and it's still like an average at best defensive line in the league, I know Slee may hate me saying that, as
Right.
the historically the defensive line for the Eagles has been very good, but I really don't really see them doing that well this year. Personally, that's just how I feel. You know, what are you thinking for the floor ceiling?
I think they're crap, to be honest with you. I think this team is bad. I'll be honest with you. I think secondary is actually better than it has been for years.
According to Slew in the private chat, just to let the
It's
listeners at
still,
home.
it's not a good secondary though. Like that, that's a really, really sad thing to say.
No, it's
Salute.
trash.
No
It's
team's
one
going
of
to
the
make
worst.
500 this year.
It's one of the worst outside of like maybe God, like the Bengals, maybe the. I think they're
I
even
think,
worse than the Cowboys
yeah,
secondary,
I think this
which
team
is
overall,
fucking terrible considering where the
what
Cowboys secondary were last year.
I think their floor this season is 3-14.
Is it bad to say 2-15? Is it
Say it.
bad to say it? Yeah, I'm gonna
Say it.
say
They're
if it
so bad.
goes, I
Doug
really don't.
Peterson needs to go.
Yeah, fire Doug,
Oh, sorry. No, sorry.
fire,
No, Doug
fire
Peterson's
Howie.
gone even. Nick Sirianni's, of course. Nick Sirianni's in. Shane Steichen, offensive coordinator. Michael Gray is the special teams coordinator.
Whack.
I'm glad Doug's gone at least. Sorry, a bit of a lapse in my memory there. To be honest with you,
I mean, they're very forgettable.
they are
As
they're
a
a
team.
forgettable football team. I'll be honest with you there. Yeah, so 3-13,
Yeah, ever
fourth me.
since they won the Super Bowl, it hasn't looked
Ceiling
pretty.
ceiling is 7-10.
Yeah, this is the case like against what the Bucks have done this year when you just keep your old players
Yeah,
and keep it going. Like eventually this will happen where you're just kind of in cap room hell and you're paying big contracts for a bunch of old guys who
can't play
aren't
football.
performing at all and just get injured all the time. Yeah, so 2-15 is their floor for me. I don't think their ceiling is above 500. I think their ceiling is. I'm going to say it's 6-11
6-11. Wow, wow, wow.
as a ceiling. Yeah, I think they're
Um,
probably the worst team in this division.
it's
I'm
not very
sorry,
close, is
Slew.
it?
You're not here to defend yourself, so get fucked, mate.
He's with us here. He's not a
The
blind
sad thing
loyalist.
is, yeah, he has just messaged saying he agreed they won't make over 500.
He's not a blind loyalist like Matt Burns Peak, so we should be fine
Yeah.
there. Let's move things over now to one of the more fun and surprising teams from last season, the Washington football team. Go football team.
Yeah. They
It's
got the what's it called? The freaking ancient the that
journeyman.
freaking dragon that if you cut one head off, the other one just comes out. I can't remember what it's called. If anyone
Chimera.
knows, that's the one. Chimera at quarterback with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Taylor Heineke, and also Kyle Allen.
Oh,
So
it's
none
gonna
of
be a
them
fun
are
year.
that great. Ryan
Yes, they
Fitzpatrick
are.
might give you some Fitz magic. Taylor Heineke actually looked good, like when he played. I mean, we haven't seen much of him. I'm not going to like put that much into it, but he did look good when he played. He looked like he's a fairly mobile guy. He can kind of like improvise and make plays. So he actually looked pretty darn good, and he won. No, well, he was probably the closest game that they actually gave the Bucks. Taylor Heineke in that playoffs.
Yeah, they gave more of a run for their money than the Packers did. That's for sure. The wide receiver core is very
Definitely the
exciting.
Chiefs.
Very exciting for me this year. Terry McLaurin, scary Terry, terrifying.
Scary Terry.
Absolutely. Adam Humphries as well at the right side, wide receivers. In the slot, Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel.
And
I would say, isn't Adam Humphries probably playing in the slot and Curtis Samuel's playing wide receiver 2 for them?
I'm just going off what I'm seeing on my screen right now. It could be either way. Who knows?
I
And
think
then,
Humphries is more of a traditional slot receiver, though. And also Diami Brown
There you go. That's my boy.
Yeah.
Diami Brown, I think the third best receiver in this class. Absolute stud of a player. I think I had him as my third or fourth guy. Absolute stud of a wide receiver.
You. I do remember you were quite high on him.
I love Diami Brown. He's a boy.
Your third guy. He can't have been your third guy.
He was third or fourth.
The wide receivers in this class: Chase, what?
Yep.
Jamar Chase, Waddle, Devonta Smith. He can't have been above them.
He was above. I think he might have been above Smith for me.
Whack! That is so whack.
Wait, I'm not sure. I'll have a look.
I'm sorry, I can't take you seriously on that.
I don't know if I would or not. No, it was Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Diami Brown at 4, and then Kadarius Toney at 5. That's fine.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
I love me a bit Diami Brown. And then offensive line.
Was he a second round pick for them?
Third round pick in 2021.
Good value. That's great value.
Absolutely steal. Offensive line, looking all right. Charles Leno Jr., left tackle as always. You got Wes Schweitzer from Atlanta, the left guard. Chase Roulier at center. Brandon Scherf, one of the best linemen in the league. First round pick way back in 2015.
Cosme as well out of Texas, right?
I like Sam Cosme's ceiling as a player. I think he could excel. He wasn't the guy I was particularly high on. I'm glad he was a second round pick as opposed to a first round pick.
That's late considering how much talent went in the first round in this O-lineman out of O-lineman in this draft. I like Cosme. I like that right side of the line in general. Brandon Scherf, obviously amazing. I think Antonio Gibson and McKissick both did damn good things last season, so I'm really looking forward to what they do this season. I can't remember which one got a lot of yards and which one got a lot of touchdowns, but
Gibson both.
No, but I think one of them stole quite a lot of touchdowns though from the other. I believe.
It wasn't much of a tandem as I think you might have realized. Like McKissick, he had a good couple of weeks as a pass catcher, but overall Antonio Gibson was the boy. He was a rookie he was a snub, maybe some would argue, for rookie of the year considering the campaign he had on the ground. Some would argue
he was up against Justin Jefferson and Justin Herbert, the two Justins. He was never going to beat them.
Yeah.
However, let's move on to the defense because the defense is the fucking tits, mate. This defensive line is just probably the best in the league, to be honest.
It is amazing.
Chase Young, we've got Jonathan Allen at starter left defensive tackle with Matt Ioannidis sitting behind him. Aaron Payne on the other defensive tackle spot.
It's a beautiful
Montez
thing.
Sweat on the other side opposite Chase Young. Yep, exactly. So you've got 4 of the upper echelon, if not elite, players in their position.
This is fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Exactly. And on that 4-3 front, they're going to cause teams a bunch of issues. They caused the Bucs a bunch of issues when they play them in the playoffs, which says a lot because that Bucs O-line is one of the better ones in the league as well. John Bostic at will linebacker. You've got Jamin Davis.
Oh, one of my boys. Jamin Davis at University of Kentucky. We love to see it.
Indeed. Yeah, he looked very good, actually. I was very high on Jamin Davis as well. I think I had him as like my third linebacker in the draft.
I've got this up right now. I can verify, Joe Costanzo, that he was your third linebacker in the class.
My memory is so good.
It's fantastic. Behind JOK and Micah Parsons. He was my second linebacker behind Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Love me a bit of Jamin Davis. Absolutely shredded too. Have you seen the six-pack on him?
Yeah, I mean, he's
shredded.
Absolutely shredded to the gills, mate.
We love to see it. We really do. And then secondary-wise, William Jackson, a solid cornerback from Cincinnati. Very, very solid cornerback. Other side, Kendall Fuller as well. Sneaky good cornerback pairing this. And you've got Ben St-Juste behind him from University of Minnesota. Transferred there from the University of Michigan. He's a Michigan man, so he must be good. Then at safety, you have Landon Collins, number 26. And then at free safety, Cameron Curl.
Landon Collins, I mean, not as good as he was at the Giants, but still one of the better safeties in the league.
I think he had a great season. I think he was better last season than he was at the Giants, I think he had a great season. And then obviously you got Bobby McCain there as well at free safety, previously with the Miami Dolphins.
Is he starting or is it Cameron Curl?
Is Cameron Curls listed as a starter here? This depth chart was updated on the 11th of August, so yesterday.
Okay. I really like this defense. It's definitely
Yeah.
the strongest point of it. This is almost like that Dolphin situation where they might be in a situation where their defense can win them quite a few games.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Great special teams unit too there. Tress White and Dustin Hopkins.
Yeah, that is true.
It's great special teams unit. Just thought I'd point that out,
Interesting to see. Their returners are not who I thought they would be.
Yeah, it's an interesting returners group. But yeah, so Washington football team, for me, ceiling is probably
win the division.
Win the division. Win the division.
Yeah,
Might not even be that hard to win the division. I think ceiling wise,
what the Cowboys do, really, isn't it?
12-5 ceiling, is that outrageous? That probably is about outrageous. Actually, I'm gonna step that down.
I don't know with the 17-game season though if that is outrageous or not, because like, is the 12-5 season the same as what an 11-6 used to be, or what? Like, I don't know.
It is.
So I could have seen them going. 11-5. Yeah, so I could see them doing that last season. So I could see them, doing something similar. So 12-5, I think it's enough to win the division.
Oh yeah, easily.
And I see them winning the division for sure. With that defense, the only thing that's the biggest unknown for them is that QB room and how Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to.
Will you get Fitzmagic or Fitztragic? That's the quite big question that each team who fields Ryan Fitzpatrick must ask themselves each season.
Yeah, but each season in recent years, he's given us at least a few games of Fitzmagic before he turned into Fitzaverage.
Fitztragic.
It's not really Fitztragic though. I never think he's like that bad. He's all serviceable.
He has had some 3 interception quarters before. He has had some absolutely awful stunts of playing.
Yeah. I mean, Slew said it there. You'll get both.
There you go. The voice of reason.
And also, the worst case scenario, they get Taylor Heineke, who didn't look that bad, and they get to see what they have in him at the very least.
Yeah, they re-signed him to a 2-year contract extension as well after the way he played. So down the stretch last season,
12-5 is the ceiling. What's the floor for you?
Because of how good their defense is, I don't think they will win anything less than 7 games. I'm going to go 7-10 as their floor.
I've got 8 and 9. I think.
Same ballpark.
Which, with this division, how it went last year, might even win them the division again. So, got them winning the division anyway. Floor or ceiling, they win the division.
Fair play. So that just about wraps up this week's episode. We got anything else we need to talk about? It has been a long one. 1 hour and 42 minutes. There you go. That's got to be some sort of record.
Probably. Probably up.
Have we done longer?
Not officially released. I mean, we've chatted shit for hours after a podcast before, but I would never release that footage.
No, or the recording from before this little show either. Hey, Joe.
Exactly. No, I will not tell you that story on air, my friend.
That story is for maybe a rainy day.
Don't trust your friends. Snakes.
Don't trust your friends. They're snakes. That is what you should be taken away from this episode, if not anything else. So with that being said, we're gonna call this a day. If you want to check out any of our other media, head over to thedropback.com where Alex Voice Joyce has just posted his college football preseason top 25 rankings article. I would highly advise you head over. Go check
out his YouTube channel as well.
Any given Saturday. Have a little look.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like, comment. Share it if you enjoy it. And we will be back next Tuesday with another podcast if everyone's back well and healthy. And back next Thursday as well for our regular weekly live streams as we start to build up towards the 2021 NFL season. So thank you so much for listening. I've been Stan.
I've been Joe.
And we will see you